Hello, welcome to a world tour that I'm doing for a world that I created in May 2018 during the Minecraft 1.13 beta. That's the update Aquatic. Um, I decided to make this world mostly because I was dissatisfied with my first Aquatic update world that I made, and I'll get into that in a little bit. Right here's about where I spawned initially, just put that at the 0, 0 just for fun. You know, always nice to know where you're at. We'll take a little bit of a tour right now. The first world I made in March, right after Coral was entered or added to the game. And I decided at that point, after realizing that was in one of the betas, to finally learn how to install betas for the program. So I did, and these two worlds were my first experiences using Minecraft betas. Um, that way there was no more waiting for new features. I could try them out just as much as I wanted to. So I did scout around the area when I first came through, first spawned in. I head around, probably looted that little town right there. You'll notice, I believe those are the old buildings because this is before the Minecraft Village update, which came in the following update. I do remember scouting around. I do happen to like the savannah, even though I know a lot of people really don't. My second ever house that I built was in the savannah biome. You can see some nice horses there. So I built, I considered building there, but I skipped on by the savannah, though I was interested. I think I just didn't want that thing in my field of view. That really just doesn't make for a nice backyard. So I kind of cruised out along this way, looked to see what I could find. And you'll see in the distance a wrong tree is growing over there. So that's kind of what I like to do, is make little markers, much like the pole over there for spawn. I like to make little markers where I have points of interest, and of course you can see my house right there. So I did not wander very far from spawn in making this particular house. And as you can see from the giant redwood spruce trees, I do have rather a preference for growing them. They're easy ways to make lots of wood, and in fact, yeah, I clearly chopped one down the last time I used this particular save because that's what I've got in my inventory. Um, so at the time, they had just added in these underwater structures in the previous beta, and then added in the coral in this beta. We're actually playing in the current version of Minecraft, which is 1.19.3, but I decided to just update for this because why not? But at that time, I had set up just the what was currently available in Minecraft and started working on my first location. Now, the problem with the first location is that I set up way, way, way too many animal farms, and they were too close to my villagers, and I didn't know that there was a mob cap at the time. And so with the animals taking up the total number of mobs, my villagers wouldn't breed. And I was very annoyed, and I didn't know what was going on. And eventually, like a year later, I figured that out and fixed it just for fun. But I just rage quit that world, didn't play Minecraft for a little while, and 2 months later came back and made this one. So those are first world problems, literally. So at this point, I'd already had a very strong preference for riverside and then later oceanside locations, as you can see from here. Very much chose to build here. This is a fairly flat area already at the beginning, but I flattened it out a little more to do the things that I like to do in Minecraft, and we'll just take a little bit of a stroll around here. So maybe what we'll do is we'll go say hi to the villagers, and we'll start out here. A couple of cactuses, because you never have enough cactuses. Um, so the thing about the villagers here is that this is the old way these things used to work. So you used to need to create a whole bunch of doors underneath 2 or 3 open blocks, and that would be enough to make this qualify as a house. And one house gets, I believe, 3 houses to a villager or 2? Anyway, this is the old way of doing it, so it doesn't matter anymore. But as you can hear from all these people and way too many hummings, there are quite a few of them there. Now, breeding villagers is great because it allows you to buy a whole bunch of things from them and get a lot of... Um, that just moved. That was funny. Anyway, and to get a whole lot of emeralds from them so that you can buy books, so you can do your enchanting. Anyhow, we'll get maybe a little more into that later. This has been my standard setup for farming since very early in the game. This is at least my 20th or so world, and I just prefer this exact setup for farming. I don't use it exactly anymore because you just don't need so much sugar cane anymore in the game as things have changed with the balance. But in fact, even in my most recent world, I have almost the exact same setup in it. Looks like it's about nighttime, so let's go ahead and take a nap. And that way things will be a little more visible tomorrow, and we can go through the house. I wasn't initially planning on doing it this way, but why not? One thing I do like to do in my worlds is face towards the sun when doing fishing at the end of the day and also sleeping. Sometimes even have a bigger window than this, but this is sort of how I like to set it up. I am bad at house design, so I prefer to just do a simple rectangle, something I can put an easy roof onto, and who really cares? I do like light blocks instead of torches, though of course okay, fine, I like torches too. There's some torches right there. I do like light blocks. I prefer sea lanterns, but you know, the color for these, even though they're absolutely awful looking, actually looks pretty decent if you're just going to make a full wood house like here. I did try to do a little more with this house, so it's not exactly a square floor plan. There's at least a little bit of variation, but yeah, that's not how I do it. So I forced a slightly different design, but there's still a bunch of glass. These are various uh, pieces of armor that I either found or made. That's probably my old one. This is actually my current armor. I should say, this is my current armor. This is pretty much overkill. Actually, I think this is very close to ideal armor before netherite was added to the game. 3 sets of prot 4, and in my opinion, a projectile protection, but you could also add in a different one like fire protection if you're heading to the nether a whole bunch. But this has got most of everything you want. I guess I don't... Nope, I've got aqua affinity as well. Yeah, this is pretty awesome. Okay, so this is pretty much a roof line that I use a whole lot, just a couple of 3 step ups. Oh, that's funny. In my most recent one, I'm actually not even using stairs. I'm just using blocks, but 3 steps up and flat roof because I just don't like the proportions when I make short houses like this with the tall peak ceiling. Concrete added to the game in the previous version of Minecraft. I happen to like blue concrete here because it looks kind of like the sky, so it's kind of nice to have indoors. So sometimes I'll use white as well. And in this version of the game, they added blue ice. So I actually found a source of blue ice somewhere. As you can see, I started converting the roof, but yeah, sort of never finished it. So let's see what else. So got some. Do I have any tables? Oh, here we go. I made a table. I guess I'm cluttering up the rest of the house in different ways. Got some flowers. These are my favorite flowers in the game. Blue orchids, which you can find in the swamps. And then this is a tall something or other. This is literally the first time I've created an actual plant box in the house. So really, I tried hard here. One thing I did to change up things a little bit is for a while, I would sink in some parts of the house underneath the floor because I like the sight lines. Yeah, sight lines. Ooh, that looks fantastic. But, you know, I do like to have clear sight lines outside the house. I do like to look. I mean, that's the whole point of setting your house up in an area that you like the way it looks, is to see those nice sight lines. So one of the techniques I would do is I would sink the what is this? the enchanting area into the ground, which is nice. This is the most sunk I ever did. Usually I just sink it 1 or 2 blocks down, but hey, why not? Why not go all the way down here? This, however, is something I've done for a very long time. Sinking one line of chest here and the second line of chest sunk into the floor with some stairs in front of it to give easy access to the chests. I doesn't really work well for these because when these furnaces are filled, only this bottom bit gets lit up. So you can't tell that these furnaces are on. I don't do this anymore for the furnaces. But sinking the chests in, I find gives kind of a clean and not too cluttered look in here, but that's just me. I have never seen anybody else do this, not even on YouTube or something. I don't watch a whole lot of survival Minecraft, so I'm not sure if other people actually are using this technique. But to preserve these sort of sight lines outside the house, this actually works really well. I think the problem is that when you go to a second floor and you have these things sunk in, your second floor is going to have chest butts sticking through the bottom here. And I don't really think you want your second floor lined up with chest butts sticking out. On the other hand, you could just put an extra layer of wood or just anything, ceiling, and sink it down 1 notch. And that might be a nice little detail. And I think I did that in one house at one point. All right. I don't like making rooms too much inside of houses because blocks are so thick that it takes up a bunch of space. And I just don't like the way the walls look so much. In a bigger house, maybe rooms would be better, but oh well. I do generally like to keep, this is my fishing area. I do like to fish towards the west so I can watch the sunset while I'm fishing. But this house just didn't end up working that way. I mean, I could easily have done it there, but I didn't, so whatever. Again, like having the sea lanterns used for light. Generally, I'll only end up at the end using torches for light for making sure that these things can grow at night. And boy, you can see how much I need these to grow. They're just taking way too long to grow. All right, anything else inside the house? I think that might be about it. So let's go back to, see if there's anything. I'm going to go look. Yes, so obviously, well, we'll just mention this now because we're in there. I've been to the end. These are end rods. They're not really the greatest light source. Their shape doesn't work super well for things, but I guess I've used them anyway here. I actually don't like them. I'd probably take them out if I redid it, but I left them in. This is not great either, but whatever. I do like a light source here at the top because especially at night, I don't like the dark ceiling. I just think it looks bad. So the torches are basically up there to keep the ceiling nicely lit. I do like these see-through doors and trap doors here that you do get with the acacia wood. I know a lot of people don't like acacia wood, but I happen to like it quite a bit. And actually, I think it looks fantastic on this floor. In fact, I having even used 3 woods in this house is unusual for me. All right, actually, this is not the way I wanted to. Yes, it is. Sorry. Dragon, obviously. This is the first save where I defeated the Ender Dragon, and that's why we're taking this tour, because this is the save where I finally decided halfway through playing Minecraft that maybe I would actually get off my butt and finally do it. As I said, it was roughly my 20th save, and you know, I was just putting it off. You've got this absolutely overkill armor, especially with Feather Falling 4, which really mitigates a lot of the problems in the Nether, though Potion of Slow Falling would be even better. But defeated the dragon, or killed the dragon, however you want to say it, grabbed the egg. Egg is here in case I want to respawn the dragon, and we also have a little brewing stand. I don't have my typical brewing setup here. It looks like this is beginning and end. Usually brewing setup in the house would be chest for brewing stuff, brew center in the center, or brewing station in the center sitting on one of these, and then the output on the other side. But I guess I ran out of space in this house. You don't really want to break up where you want to walk. It's actually unusual. Okay. Anyway, this is still during my absolute overkill days for farming. The reason for that was the farming villagers, as I was mentioning. The farming villagers are usually the easiest way to make a ton of money that you could then, you know what, this music is a little annoying. I am going to put the music down. What would happen is, sorry, so the easiest way to get loads of villagers, so you could get loads of enchantments, which is how all these things are made. These are just made with enchanted books. Every one of those villagers in the generally white uniform, which was completely white at the time, would sell one of those. So, and I just knocked them together. The farmers will spend time in here, eventually grabbing all the crops. Then they'll hand off some of the extra crops as bread to the other farmers. The other farmers will breed, make new baby farmers, and the big thing with that is that you had to, it was random. You couldn't choose what job the farmers got. Nowadays, you can actually choose them using job blocks, but that came out in the next update. So these guys, I just had to breed whenever I could. I'm going to turn down those mob sounds as well. Um, let's see. I don't know if they're friendly creatures. Maybe I'll just do that. And yeah, it's a little better. So each one of these doors represents either, or 2 to 3 of each of these doors represents a single villager generated, and you just wait until you get all the right ones that you want. So let's check one of these guys and see what you have. Channeling, not very useful. Oh, written books. Yeah, you can't even sell those anymore. Looting, mending. As you can see, I've actually used this guy up for mending. One of the problems with the villagers at this point is you could actually lock them permanently, and you had to just start trading other things to unlock this again. That's why the farmer generally ended up being the best villager to have, because farmers would sell 5 different things, and you could keep selling one or the other or the other or the other to keep unlocking other bits. Plus, you can always buy some pumpkin pie. I can't believe I wasted so much time already. It's already another day gone by. Let's go back home, and we'll sleep again, because I just don't want to deal with mobs while doing a tour, but it's also fun to do a tour during the regular day-night cycle. Again, love this. All right, back to where we were. So in any case, the villagers pretty much got you anything you wanted, but you always had to just overkill on villagers to make sure you got enough of the ones that you liked, which for me was a couple of farmers and basically a bunch of librarians that would sell you the books. But you know, I keep the other guys around as long as they weren't nitwits. Infinity, very important. So then, what happens if you got your cap and you didn't have everything? Well, generally, you'd have to get rid of your farmers. And I have hidden my farmer thing. I guess I was done. That's hilarious. Okay, so these guys, if you just kill a villager because you want to create space, they'll come by and kill you and get angry at you and really be all annoyed. So what I would do instead is create, you know, an accidental spot. I think it was right here where there might be 2 black hole with some lava underneath it, and they would occasionally fall in there when I would bump them like that. You know, click them like that, get their attention. Bump, bump, bump. They would accidentally fall in there. You know, there's a little trapdoor on the top, and they had a happy little accident. Such a shame. And then you'd have space for another. Gave them a little deck so they can look off into the sea and wonder what life would be like if they weren't in prison. But as you can see, they are imprisoned. Because you don't want them to go wandering off, and you don't want bad mobs to come wandering in. All right, so what other things? This is the first time I used these bridges, and I haven't used them very often. They're nothing special, but they're definitely better than the horrible things I would usually do, which would be like a block of dirt across the water. But this is good because you could actually put your boat through there, so not a problem. There are a few bridges. There's another one over here, and I've used them on occasion too since this time to go over valleys. All right, so here are all the animals. Must collect all the eggs. Keep the chest down here. Why keep the chest anywhere else when you can just dump your eggs right in here quickly? These guys don't produce many eggs, neither do these, but oh well, you know, you don't get everything in life. This was the last thing I tried to do before I decided I was done with the world. Oh, I did fish one mushroom cow out of the. Um, there is a mushroom island quite a ways that way, and I grabbed this little guy and brought him back. But he's wandering right now because I also kind of lost interest in that. This was going to be a giant cow, giant voxel cow structure, and I have loads of models right here for making it, but clearly I never ended up doing it. Um, Also, for those who are familiar with this beacon, you can only get this little guy at the top when you kill the wither. So I did actually end up killing the wither here once I finally went and defeated the ender dragon. I figured might as well do everything. So went, defeated the wither, and then obviously it's very easy to get these emerald blocks from all of those villagers, and just made this up. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, it is solid. Well, there you go. Gold isn't that hard to find either. And obviously quite a shortage of diamond blocks, but you got to put a few up there. All right. What am I using? Regeneration, and I don't even know if this is set. I can't even tell. It's been so long. In fact, during one of the updates, it reset all of these things, and I just haven't gone. No, I actually don't have any effects. So what I should have here, I think I use speed and haste so that I can mine faster, but I don't really do much mining. This is the time when they added coral to the game. So this is coral underneath the sea pickles, and then we use the sea pickles for lighting. So everywhere underneath here, I have sea pickles so that we have a lot of nice lighting. All right, anything else? It's funny, when I wrote this, I actually wasn't looking at the tour, so I forgot. I didn't remember from memory where the netherwort was. Now, I was pretty sure I had nothing special for netherwort here, and in fact I don't. I just have this little sort of garden box outside the front window here, which is all right. It breaks up the monotony of the house a little bit, but frequently what I would do is I would build a little nether room. Either it'll be buried into the ground or into the side of a mountain like I would have done it over there. And it would look like the inside of the nether fortress, but with the soul sand at the bottom so that you could grow the netherwort. Obviously I have a little side yard here, which I converted to be a little mini the end. We've got the chorus plants here. Let's see if we can grab a chorus fruit. Fun thing about the chorus fruit is you eat the chorus fruit. Oh, I can't. Why can't I eat it? Or am I getting this wrong? Oh, you have to. This is the fruit. I think I need this. Hey, guess how long it's been since I've done this? No, you can't. Oh, you the chorus flower. So I think I have to destroy one to get the fruit. That is hilarious. I don't even remember how to do this. There we go. You have to destroy one of those to get the fruit. Teleports you somewhere else. Oh, it teleported me to the roof. At which point we could see that I. That's funny. I cheated. This is the underside of the inside of the roof. Um, I didn't even finish the roof, but then I'm looking at this going, it's a nice facade, so you never actually see the torches, the ugly torches, and making sure that mobs don't show up on your roof. That's actually a good idea. I had completely forgotten that I'd done that, but you'll never see them unless you actually are above the house. Well, that's pretty funny. Let's get down. I enjoyed that. That was great. Good use of chorus fruit. Just toss this back in there. Okay, so what else? I guess we could go to the mine. I don't remember the mine. So I don't remember what you usually have a mine. It's usually not quite a hole in the middle of where my house is, but frankly, it's usually not much better. It's usually in the side of it's usually in the side of a mountain or something like that. Okay, so this is during the time when you would get diamonds by just poking holes. You're basically doing slot mining and poking holes about every 3 or 4. Apparently this I did every 3. It's a little inefficient. 4 is a little better. But it was useful to get diamonds this way. This no longer works. You should just find the big open underground caves, which are standard nowadays, and it's just much more fun, really, to find diamonds that way. But this was a reasonable way to find diamonds, and somewhere here, I think, actually don't remember. I'm trying to find where I did my wither fight, but now I actually don't have it. So we're not going to stay in here too long because this is a waste of time. No, I don't. Basically, what I did with the wither fight is I just went down here in one of these areas and I dug out a spot and created a bunch of holes in the wall to put torches really far in so I can see what I'm doing. And then you make a long slot corridor and then spawn the wither and just back down the corridor while hitting it either with your bow and arrow or hitting it with your sword, and you could eventually take them out. It's not too tough. The one thing I realized when I was writing the notes for this, which is hilarious, is that if you use a potion of night vision, you don't need the torches. It makes the setup much easier. Take a couple of them with you and you're set. And that was literally something I thought of right now. I'm sure many people, of course, thought of that a long time ago and use it, but yep, just thought of that. Anyway, one other thing that I do like about the Aquatic update, which is why I made the point of going to it, to getting the beta, was of course it added a lot more under the ground. Actually, this was supposed to be the starter house. This was not supposed to be the original house. The original house was supposed to be this thing which has been around the corner this whole time that we've been here. This was supposed to be the original house. You'll notice I have a status effect from the conduit here, which allows me to breathe underwater. I think it allows you to swim fast. There's something else, I forget what it is. I didn't do it because at the time, chests were not waterlogged correctly. So this actually looked, oh, I think it might have been beds. Beds still don't waterlog correctly. So if you're taking a bed around with you, it's actually a nice way during the night to both, of course, pass the night and also breathe underwater. It's temporary, but it's useful. So this was going to be the house, which is why it's kind of set up in a square like I described before. I mined out after defeating the third boss after the Ender Dragon and the Wither, there's also the sort of de facto boss, which is the Elder Guardians, and I cleared out a temple, underwater temple, cleared out the Guardians, tore a lot of it down for this, but it just takes so long to tear it down that I kind of gave up finishing the walls. I think there's actually more in the walls back here. You can see where I started to do walls and a door, and in the end I was like, it's too much. So conduit in the center is what allows you to breathe underwater. It's fairly easy to make, and in fact finding the center part of the conduit is part of the fun, and one of the things I really like about this update, and when I play a regular Minecraft world I do this every time. Start the game, get a few minimal things, find an ocean, and then I just loot shipwrecks for quite a while. That way you can get almost all the metals you need. You can get, of course, Hearts of the Sea. You get buried treasure maps, which you can then choose to find. Also, a lot more gold or gold. I'm not sure you get much gold there, but a lot more iron and some diamonds and some emeralds, and also food that way as well. So that I find to be a whole lot of fun, and in fact it's even more fun slightly later in the game when you get potions of night vision and also potions of undersea water breathing. But you can still do it pretty well even without those potions, and the status effect will last just about until you get to land here. So I did position that so you could pretty much do whatever you wanted, and the status effect lasts there. Look at that, another day. How long is this video going to be? That is mostly it, though. I might decide to go into the Nether and have a little look at what the Nether looks like, because I don't remember this one. I'm not sure it's that interesting anyway, but we'll take a peek. This is the absolutely most boring Nether portal setup I've ever done. I didn't even finish the corners, even with stone. So this is, you know, minimum effort right here. Even though I did almost something with the other locations, minimum effort. Let's see what we get here. It's a fairly standard nether setup. I encased this in stone so that ghasts don't blow a hole in this thing, even though they could blow through here. So actually this is not an ideal setup. Nice to have a nether chest in here so you can transfer stuff between here and everywhere. I'm sure there's another chest in the house. I didn't even see it. Hey, I didn't remember if I had elytra. Clearly I leave the elytra in here to fly around the nether a whole bunch. And there's a conduit in here that's probably actually for flying elsewhere, not necessarily in the nether. Okay. This is a setup I used to use for a while. Basically shoot piglins, and then I would just run around on the soul sand because they run really slowly, and just kill them for because it'll draw a whole bunch of piglins to you, and then just kill them for XP. So this is a really low-grade XP farm. There are way better ones, but this is a little more fun, but it's just not very fast. And I do remember this nether. The fortress is right through there. Let's take a look. Also, this one was extremely tenuous. There was all just one block nether rack, which is very easy to blow up by gas. I never fell through, amazingly enough, but this was a real pain in the butt. And there's another fortress. So this is a pretty ideal setup. You don't get that lucky very often, but it turned out pretty well. That was unfortunate. I mean, I don't really have much to worry about, but they are going to attack me because I'm not wearing any gold. Again, this is something that never happened before. Oh god, I've got to kill these fools then. Really? And you know what? You're going to. Sigh. You can get in and out this way, but you can actually jump in and out as well. I just don't feel like doing it because I'd probably make a mistake. Alright, that is pretty much it. I'm sure I forgot something or another, but that's alright. I usually like to keep one of every tree around just in case I actually want to get creative and use a different type of wood. This is before mangroves, so there's none of that, but one of each type of tree there, and then just the tall trees around because I kind of like the contrast with everything. So that's the world, and there's not really much else to it. I just did a whole lot of prospecting out in the ocean because there was quite a bit of shipwrecks. Because this was the first beta where they put the shipwrecks in, they actually put them in way too often. So you could just sit anywhere on the ocean and find like 3 of them within sight. They eventually turned down number of shipwrecks a little bit. I still think they're way OP. They probably need to be there about maybe a quarter as much as they are, but of course many people will not like that at all. So, you know, and they'll never make that change anyway. But they are kind of too often. They occur too often. They're just too easy. All right, well, that's pretty much it. Um, this has been a nice house tour. I haven't done this in a while. I might do this for some of my other ones, but I very much enjoyed this setup. I liked the house. I liked making the little places here. I didn't do that very much on many of my other ones, but I have 1 or 2 other builds where I actually put a tiny little itty bitty bit of effort into them, just like I did for these. So maybe I will see you in those builds, and I'll talk to you next time.